So here we've got Thor. He's an 18-month-old working line German Shepherd. He was actually bred here. So we've got the mum and the dad here. He's just come back for some basic obedience. Obedience, you know, confidence building, that sort of thing. And so what I'm doing here is he's in the, every day I bring him out of the pen. There's several sessions a day. And we're just working basically on engagement. So, you know, it all goes hand in hand with leash, pulling. He pulls a lot. Okay. That is part and parcel of the disengagement issue. So basically what we want them to do is walk with the handler rather than walking against the handler. And a lot of the time when we see a dog who pulls on lead, it's that they've got their own agenda, and normally the people inadvertently, you know, they let it happen by allowing the dog to gain ground every time they put pressure on the lead. So the dog wants to go over there, people are behind them, and they slowly walk and drag the dog, but the dog is actually dragging the human. So the dog's being rewarded for pulling, basically. So I don't ever let that happen. So if he pulls, I never let him gain ground. I'm always telling people, you know, never let your dog gain ground when there's tension on the lead, because what you're doing is you're giving them what they want, basically. So yeah, what I might do is we'll watch this video through, and what I'm going to do is go over it again and just talk about everything that I'm doing with the dog. So here we can see some nice engagement with him, which is good. And he's learned how to drop. He loves obedience. So this was when he first arrived, he was really reserved, very unsure, and look, that's normal. For the first 24 to 48 hours, dogs, they just don't know what's happening. And it's the same with, you know, wherever they go. But, you know, he wouldn't let me approach him. I couldn't catch him, any of that sort of stuff. So the first couple of days was just letting him learn to trust me, basically. We treated him a little bit differently to some of the other board and trains that we get, because he is quite handler sensitive. He's incredibly loyal, loves his family, and I can see that. And that's a trait he picked up from his mum. He's just an incredibly loving, loyal, very protective dog. Very intuitive, very sensitive, but sensitive to the handler. So she's very strong with doing what she wants to do. So yeah, but we've certainly seen him come out of his shell, and more so since this video was taken. I'll do an update probably in the next day or so. And yeah, I mean, we've had a bit of a tricky situation because we've got 2 females in heat at the moment. So he's been pretty well behaved considering, but definitely since he started coming out of his shell, I've noticed that he's quite distracted by them, and he pushes through a lot more corrections than a dog normally would. So it's been a struggle. Certainly it hasn't gotten in the way of him learning, but it's been a bit harder for me. But oh well, it is what it is. I'm sort of used to it now. Yeah, so he's been here. This is his day 3. I'm not sure whether I said that or not, but pretty happy with his progress, to be honest. He's a really, really lovely dog. Great sport dog. Really, really nice drive. Nice energy. I've sort of, from all the puppies that came back from this combination, I've been happier with the puppies than I am with the grown-ups, because each parent has traits that are really, really good, and they really complement each other. So would have loved a puppy from this litter. I'm still hoping to. I've just got a few too many dogs at the moment, so I really, really, really hope that I can do a final breeding and keep one, but I'm sort of focusing on other dogs at the moment, so I'd love to keep one for the sport. Yeah. So we're just doing some spins. But here we do some rear end awareness, which is where I want him to just move his bum, be aware of his bum or his back legs, and basically move when I lure his head around. And when he does that, I mark him. I go yes, and then I reward him. Every time he lifts his legs or he moves his back legs, I go yes, and then I reward him. And that's how we start teaching a heel, like a focused heel. So pretty happy with this engagement here.
Hey, yes, good boy.
And that's only going to get better.
Hey, sit. Yes. You're
So that's good.
crazy.
Certainly noticed a huge change in his attitude. He's a lot happier now than he was when he first arrived. Again, that's normal. Seeing a lot more confidence coming out of him.
Free. Good boy.
And that's it really. So here I'm just going to try and get him to pull so I can reinforce not pulling. So every time he pulls, basically every time he pulls is when he checks out with me or checks out away from me. And every time he does that, I just correct him and bring him back. And it just reinforces, wait a second, no, you're not on your own, we're here walking together.
Good boy. That's it.
It's focused on me, it's great.
That's it.
Walks the other way.
Good.
I don't give him a chance to slip up. I mean, he's allowed to make a bit of an error, as in just focusing on walking somewhere else. Before he goes too far, I make sure that he checks back in with me. And this is, here it's okay. There's not a lot of stimulation here. But when we go out and there's high stimulation, there's people, there's other dogs, we want to make sure that his muscle memory is always checking back in. Get him into really good habits.
No. Nuts. Yes. Nuts.
I'm just making sure that I said the plutz, which is a drop. And when I say it, he has to do it.
Yes.
So I'm just reinforcing that, just using opposition pressure. He's getting a lot better. Good boy. You can see he's a happy dog.
All right, thanks, Hugs. That's fine.
All right, open the door, make him wait, pop the lead on him, and then give him the command to come out. First thing I want him to do when he comes out is to focus back on me. Good boy. We mark and reward. Now going down these stairs is always a problem. Obviously I'm going to get dragged, so I really want to make sure I've got his focus. So lots of, whenever he looks at me, I go, yes, good boy. Good boy, that's it. Walk down the steps. I just don't want him pulling. He's pulling. I pop the lead, pop, pop. He's not looking at me. I want him to look at me. Pop, pop, pop. Nope, don't worry about the dog. Pop, pop. Good. He looks back at me. Good. Same thing here. Don't pull. Every time he pulls me, I get his attention back. No, pulls again. He checks out. I want his attention back on me. Good boy. No circles. I don't allow them to do circles around me. It's okay, you can have a sniff, but it's all going to be within the range of the lead. That's fine. You can cock your leg, and you don't lunge. Lunging, bring him back. Good boy. Every time the pressure's on, he looks back, I give him a reward. Good boy. Now a bit of obedience. Good boy. It's all engagement. Good, that's it. Just don't get gung-ho when you've done your thing and you want to walk off. You just can't just take off. You got to remember you're attached to the lead. This is really important. He's got to understand how long that lead is, and it's his responsibility not to drag me. Good boy. It's got to be slack at all times. That's his job. Keep the lead slack. Good boy. That's it. So, yep, I don't mind what you do. As long as you don't turn around in circles around me, I don't care what you do. Do not pull on that lead. Good boy. This is all just discipline. And obedience is just keeping them engaged. It's obviously good for them to know. It's good impulse control. Just keeping him engaged. Good boy. So he's doing all the right things. There's no consequences right now. It's all just reward. He's having a good time. He loves it. So when I start moving, you'll probably see he's going to take off. And then I correct him. Don't you ever run off with me attached to that lead and drag me along with you. It's not going to work. And he's not being a bad dog. Obviously, then he's not a bad dog. He just doesn't know. Because every time before, and all this is just, it's just engagement games. So yeah, we're doing the rear end awareness. It's just to bring him back to me and let him know we're a team here. It's not you. It's not just you. It's you and me. So he's looking that way. No, you got to engage back in me. I come first. You can look over there, but when I ask for your attention, you need to give it to me. Good. When you're sniffing down there and I ask you for your attention, you need to give it to me. Simple as that. And he can't do that at the moment. He's too early on. If he was a seasoned dog, I'd let him sniff because I know I've got his mind. But he doesn't have that luxury at the moment. So you sniff and then I make you stop. And I want to make sure he knows to stop and look at me when I put pressure on that lead.
Good.
So all this is just basically enforcing engagement when we're out together. Yep, look at me, good boy. As soon as he looks at me, I give him a reward. So we do a little bit of engagement like this, keep him focused on me and just reinforcing that when you're out here, this is where you want to be. I'm more fun than what's out there, what's happening over there. In a sec, I think we start walking. And I know he's going to charge. I don't want to be correcting him all the time. This is why we do these engagement games, why I get him to drop, I reward him, you know, I do the spins, all that sort of stuff. So it's not always pulling on lead. Just reinforcing a long down. Still early stages. Good boy. All right, stiffing. Yep. You look back at me. That's perfect. You get a reward. I want him to know when he feels that pressure, it's a good thing. Feels that pressure. He looks at me and he gets something. This is where he's earning all his meals. So as I mentioned before, this is a bit of rear end awareness. I just want him to move his bum. So this is how we get them to do that focused healing. It's really important with competitive sport. Good boy. All right, let's go for a walk. Wait till you check out and I'm going to pull you back. This is perfect. The way he's doing it right now is perfect. Beautiful. He's nice and engaged. No complaints here whatsoever. I'm just reinforcing, you know, it's fun. It's fun to be focused on me. I'm your source of entertainment, not what's over there. Good. And this is the problem with when we have dogs meeting other dogs. It's like, no, don't worry about that dog over there. Everyone wants to meet on lead. No, I'm the most important thing to this dog. They don't need to meet other dogs. They can be around other dogs. But you know, when we're out, we've got to be well behaved. And they've got to do everything through consent of the handler. So we're walking as one. I'm just testing him. I walk backwards. Is he going to check in with me? Good. And he's doing a good job. So I'm going to give him a reward. And he's having a good time. Good boy. Good. Perfect. Good. And he checked back in. He felt the pressure and he checked back in. That's all you want.
That's it.
What I don't tolerate ever is when he feels that pressure and he pushes through. And what they do is they put their shoulder in. And you see it all the time with dogs who have been allowed to pull. And it's a ridiculously common thing. With pet dogs, it happens all the time. Even with sport dogs. I mean, it's the number one issue with dogs is pulling on lead. Now I let him chase that food before because he's actually very sensitive to corrections, and I taught him not to pull through, but I actually wanted him to eat the food. I taught him before, if I throw the food, you don't chase it if you feel pressure. But this time I wanted to go with him so he didn't feel pressure. Like I said before, just reinforcing the pluts. When I say something, you need to do it. I'm going to be firm but fair. Good boy. This is all just programming, you know. It's not this much effort when the dog gets older, but when they're young, we've got to do this sort of thing.